Welcome back, guys. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and this still frame, well, it just says it all. I could do a video just on the cult following from this frame. It is insane. The expression, the reaction, the horrifying truth. Today, for the 10th episode of that scene, we're going to celebrate by talking about the 1983 classic Sleepaway Camp. So huge spoiler alert on this one. If you don't know, this is going to be about the reveal scene. And also, huge shout out to my Patreon, Patrick, who thought I had already done a video on this. That's how iconic this is. This moment in cinematic history really is the definition of that scene. And as always, make sure you hang out until the end of this video because there'll be another YouTuber talking about that scene. And this time it's one of my oldest friends on YouTube, so I'm very excited to have them here. And I'm gonna give you a hint. Do you get it? Okay, let's talk about that scene. Sleepaway Camp, also known as Nightmare Vacation, is a 1983 summer camp slasher. The film was written and directed by Robert Hiltzik, who went on to co-write the 4 sequels. The film stars Felissa Rose as Angela, a troubled girl who was traumatized as a child after a boating accident. She then goes on to live with her eccentric aunt and her overprotected cousin Ricky, played by Jonathan Tiersten. Ricky and Angela are sent to Camp Arawak for the summer, but when violent accidents start to happen, the camp realizes they might have a mass murderer on the loose. Sleepaway Camp is a simple slasher that got all of its attention from its grand reveal. It's actually said to be one of the greatest reveals in horror. And because of this, years later, the film gained its mass cult following. The film was shot in 5 weeks with a budget of $350,000. It was filmed in Argyle, New York, near Summit Lake, the camp that the director had attended as a child. Like majority of films, Sleepaway Camp was storyboarded in pre-production, but when production started, on the first day, they were already running so late that the storyboard just went out the window. The film is known for its campy, pun intended, performances and its contrast on acting styles that makes it a little bit quirky. I mean, who can forget Aunt Martha? Felissa Rose was 13 at the time of filming, and it was her feature film debut. And although she was not able to carry out any of the murders on camera as per her contract, the film launched her career as a horror icon. She's now done over 20 horror movies, and she attends conventions to this day. This one is tricky because the lead up is the whole entire film. So if you haven't watched it, I really urge you to go see it before you watch the rest of this video. This is the payoff, this is the reveal. What you do need to know in short form, there's a lot more to the story, but in short form, Angela is having problems with a boy, and this boy is kind of starting to get physical with her. Angela is a very shy girl. She does not really talk to the other girls in the camp. She doesn't shower with them. Of course, she doesn't go swimming after a boat accident. And she keeps on running away from this boy and saying that she doesn't want to do anything with him. But tonight, she's led this boy, Paul, down to the lake, and she has just told him to get undressed so they can go swimming together. And then it cuts to another scene where some of the camp counselors and the local cops have found another dead body. And then we lead straight into the final scene. 2 of the camp counselors have realized that Paul and Angela are missing, and because so much blood and mayhem is going on, they go out to find them. The 2 camp counselors are approaching the wilderness with a cabin light illuminated in the background. The deafening silence is drowned out by the sound of insects. Angela, Judy, the woman calls. Ricky, Paul, are you guys out there? The man adds. Hey, you hear something? He asks. What? Listen. Sounds like singing. In this moment, the torch goes out and the sound of insects strengthen. Damn it. It's coming from over there. He points, exiting the frame. The woman follows. A dark shot is revealed. A distant humming can be heard. We see a close-up shot of Paul laying on what appears to be Angela's lap. She is stroking his hair while humming. It's Angela, one of the counselors announces. Angela, are you all right? She asks. Angela, are you okay? Angela, can you hear me? The male counselor adds. All of a sudden, a stir of music is heard. Flashback. The camera reveals Aunt Martha standing at the base of the stairs talking to a child who has their head bandaged up. Their identity is unknown. Oh, you're going to enjoy living with us so much. Yes, I know you are. As a welcome home present, I brought you such wonderful new clothes, she says while holding up a white blouse. I just hope that Richard doesn't get jealous. I didn't get him anything. The camera begins to dolly in a circular motion. Oh, but then he's such a dear. I'm sure he won't mind. You see, I've always wanted a girl. The camera draws close to the aunt, preparing to reveal the child. But of course, when my husband left, oh well, that's all water under the bridge. As I always say, water under the bridge. But it certainly will be a nice little surprise when Richard comes home to find a little girl in the house. Yes, I've always dreamed of having a little girl like you. I mean, we already have a boy, so another one simply would not do. The camera has now spun to reveal a child with its head hanging low. Oh no, absolutely not. A little girl would be so much nicer. Don't you think so, Angela? Angela, such a lovely name. Why, I believe it means angel. Well, yes, I'm sure it does. And I know you're gonna like that name. Won't you, Peter? The boy's head tilts up, cut back to present day. Angela, who is now revealed to be Peter, launches out of the darkness with her mouth wide open and her eyes stuck to the side. The head she was holding rolls as this happens. It's Paul's. The counselors watch on in shock. Angela stands in the dappled moonlight with a horrifying expression. How can it be? It was bizarre the way they delivered their lines in this moment because they're just kind of talking like, how could that be? Angela starts to make a strange animal-like breathing noise. The music is sharp and piercing, close up to Angela's face, back to the counselors, and finally revealing a wide shot of Angela standing naked with a penis. My God, she's a boy, the male counselor says. That's really how he says it. My God, she's a boy. Heavy animal-like breathing is heard coming from Angela like a faint growl. The frame turns to a still and dips to a green tint. Credits roll. Whodunit films have always had grand twisted reveals, and as per the genre's nature, they usually have a dark aspect. Slashers are no exception. The root cause of evil is generally a tortured soul, one you may have known the whole time throughout the film, or one that is only revealed at the end. The fun thing about Sleepaway Camp is it does both of these at the exact same time. Angela was someone we knew, she was the main character, but also when she is revealed to be someone else completely, the rug is just taken out underneath you. Most slasher villains wear a mask, and in Angela's case, she was wearing a mask the whole time, but just in the open. The scene hits hard because of what is not said. It takes the time to explain to you exactly what happened, but at the same time, you have no idea how Angela feels in this situation and how bad the trauma really is and how it's affected her. And because this is never explained, it's really hard to come to grips with. And then there's the visual. This shot of the character is probably the most unnerving moment in a slasher film. Just standing there breathing in a psychotic state. It gives the audience nothing but silent shock and horror. It's also in the unnatural way that it's posed, her mouth gaping open and her eyes to the side, and that inhuman growl. Is this what trauma looks like in its most purest form? So a lot went into the scene to give it, let's say, its unique feel. In a documentary about this film, Rosa's mother talked about the idea of them using a strap-on was on the table at the start. Obviously, her mother was very much against her 13-year-old daughter wearing a strap-on for a horror movie. Instead, Rose had her face molded. It was made of dental acrylic, and it was thin enough for someone to wear on their face without it changing shape. Her eyes were then replaced with glass eyes. And a local mystery college man who has not come forward to this day stood in for Angela's bottom half. He was shaven, and he actually drank a lot to work up the courage to do this because it was a very awkward scene. He had to put on a girl's mask and stand there naked. It's a very long scene too. It goes for a very long time. So just standing there shivering, it was very cold, it was near the lake, and just exposing himself really. And of course, Paul's head was made of latex, and I just love the sound it makes when it drops. It sounds so weighted and so real. I'm telling ya, it's the quiet ones. This film gets me every time. It seems like it's a normal run-of-the-mill 80s slasher, but it really hits you hard in the end with a pit in your stomach and you're not really sure what to think. You come out feeling a little bit traumatized, and it's what is left unsaid that is the scariest thing about this film. It really pushed the boundaries, and for that, I love it. It is horrifying to see Angela's trauma that must have been held inside after all those years unleashed. What did you guys think? Do you like Sleepaway Camp? What do you think of this scene? What's your favorite that scene? I'd love to know down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, do so, because at 30K, I'm gonna do an announcement. So I'm trying to get there. But make sure you hang around, guys, because my friend Dino is here with a great scene from his favorite horror movie, actually, Rosemary's Baby.
Thank you, Emma, Miss Spooky Astronauts. I am Dino from the Late Late Horror Show, And this is that scene. My scene is from Rosemary's Baby, 1968. What have you done to its eyes? You might ask, what is so controversial about that? Maybe not in everybody's eyes, and maybe not even in my eyes is it very controversial. But this is the scene I chose. It has impacted me in many different ways. Lots of people in the community know that Rosemary's Baby, 1968, not the remake, is one of my favorite, if not, it's my favorite movie of all time. Being a father, it has impacted me just a little bit more. When the scene comes up where she enters the room, and all of these people are just like, what's going, just looking away from Rosemary, and just don't want to look her in the eyes because they know what's going on. This is the spawn of Satan. You have been, by Satan. You know what I mean? But this goes back to, like I said, as a parent, the love of your child, no matter how devastating the circumstances. You love your child, but there is that scene where she looks in that black cradle where the baby is, and they don't show it right away, but she sees those eyes, and she's looking right down at the baby, and she just gasps. You see it in her eyes. She's holding that knife, ready to do the impossible as a parent and take care of the spawn of Satan, but she doesn't. And eventually she picks up the baby with all these weird characters. This is what I love about this movie, all these weird, strange characters in this movie that just make this movie surrounding her, like, you're the mother of Satan's son. But she clutches the baby in the end and holds it close to her, and movie ends. I mean, then you realize the love of a mother, of a parent, is going to prevail, and that's what happens. But that's why this is the scene I chose, that scene. Not only did it give me the love of horror, the love of, I love Mia Farrow. She's a beauty. And this kind of movie, plus just the hard-hitting, it got me into cults, it got me into, not being a cult member or nothing like that, just the interest that spawned from this kind of a movie did it. I'm not going to go on and on, but there's that scene. I would like to thank Emma for letting me come on here and do this very cool episode of that scene. And there you go. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Emma.